Hey students, who doesn't like free stuff? Well, if you like free stuff as much as me, you're going to love this video. In this video, we'll be discussing the Amazon Web Services free tier account. This account is a normal AWS account that has access to many of AWS's most popular cloud computing services, and they will cost you absolutely nothing. There are some limitations to the free tier account, so I'll provide a link in the description below where you can read more about the thresholds that you can't exceed. If you do so, you will be charged. Now let's go through some of the details of what you'll learn in this video. After watching this video in its entirety, you will be able to create a free tier account, create a user group and grant the group administrative privileges, create a user account, and add an account to the group. Before we get started, you'll need an email address for verifying your account and for communicating with AWS. You'll also need a credit card or debit card. You'll only be charged if you exceed the limits. So let's play the promo clip and get you started with an Amazon Web Services free tier account. I'll start by opening a browser window. Next, in the address bar, I'll type aws.amazon.com/free. I'll press enter, and I'm taken to the AWS free tier webpage. You'll notice that I can create a free account by using the button right here, but before I do that, I might want to learn a little bit more about the free tier. So I can click the link above, and I'm transported to a web page that explains the free tier in more detail. I strongly urge you to browse through the collection of videos to learn exactly what you have access to when you're working with the free tier. After doing this, you'll probably want to create a free tier account for yourself. I'm going to guide you right now through the process of how to create that account. First, I'll click on Create a Free Account. And next, I'll be prompted with a page that asks me to provide a root user email address and an account name. I'll go to the root user email address box, and I'll type the email address that I want associated with my account. For security purposes, you don't want to share the root user email address or the AWS account name with anyone. I'll type the root user email address, then I'll click in the account name box, and I'll type my account name. Next, I'll click the Verify Email Address button, and you'll notice that an email has been sent to me at the email address that I provided, and that email contains a verification code that I can type in the verification code box. I've retrieved the verification code from my email, and I'll paste it into the box. I'll click Verify, and I receive a message that says that my email address has been verified. The next step is to create a root user password. I'll click in the root user password box, and I'll scroll down to see the rules for creating this password. You'll notice that the password must be at least 8 characters long and must contain at least 3 of the following: uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and non-alphanumeric characters. I'll create my password, and you'll notice the checks in the box indicate that the password that I typed fulfills all of the requirements for a valid password. I'll go to the Confirm Root User Password and type the same thing. Next, I'll click Continue, and I'll move on to the next step. The next step in creating my account is to provide some contact information. You'll notice that the AWS account can be used for either business or personal use. I'm going to set this up for personal use, so I'll select the Personal Radio button. Then I'll go to Full Name, and I'll type my full name. I'll go to the phone number box, provide a phone number. Then I'll scroll down and provide the remaining information for my address, city, state, and postal code. It's always a good idea to read the customer agreement, and since I've already done so, I'll simply check the box and click Continue, Step 2 of 5. The next step in this process is to provide a credit or debit card for billing purposes. You won't be charged for a free tier account unless you exceed the pre-established limits. I'll type in my card information. Then I'll scroll down and I'll verify and continue. Next, I'm prompted to confirm my identity. I'll receive another message from AWS and I can choose whether it's a text message or a voice call. I'll scroll down, provide a mobile phone number, and type the security check information from the box above. I'll click Send SMS, and I'll type the verification code that I received on my phone. We're almost done. At this point, I can select a support plan. You'll notice there's free support, which is recommended for people who are just starting out with AWS. If you have a business need for working with AWS, you might want to try one of the other support plans, which provides more comprehensive and faster service. I'll leave basic support selected, scroll down, and complete the sign-up process. At this point, I receive a congratulations message, and I'm finished signing up for my AWS account. I'll click the Go to the AWS Management Console button, and here I'm prompted to log in with my root user account. I'll type in the root user email address that I provided in the sign-up process. Then I'll click Next, and I'll type my password. I'll click the Sign In button, and after logging in, I'm taken to the console home. At this point, we've successfully created an AWS account and logged into the root user account. This root user account provides access to all of the functionality that a customer has in AWS. If this account is compromised, an adversary would have complete control of the customer's AWS environment. For this reason, it's best practice to only use the root user account for special purpose activities, not for day-to-day operations. One of the first steps in ensuring a secure working environment is to use the root user account to create an account for administrators. This account will perform day-to-day administrative tasks in AWS, but will possess a more limited functionality than the root user account. To accomplish this, we will first create a user group and grant this group privileges to perform administrative tasks. Then we will create a user account and add the account to our administrators group. The user who logs in with an account in the administrators group will, of course, have administrative privileges. With an understanding of what we're going to be doing, let's pick up where we left off in the video. I want to create a user and a group, so I'll need to access the Identity and Access Management dashboard. This dashboard is also known as IAM, so I'll go to the search box and I'll type IAM to search for this service. Next, I'll click the link and I'm taken to the IAM dashboard. You'll notice in the security recommendations, AWS suggests that we add a multi-factor authentication for the root user. Multi-factor authentication provides us with a secondary method for proving to the system that we are who we say that we are. For right now, I'll skip this security step, but I'll try to cover this in a future video. For now, I'd like to create a user group, so I'll come over to the left-hand side and click User Groups. Then I'll go to the far right-hand side and click Create Group. You'll notice I'm prompted for a group's name, so I'll click in the User Group Name box and I'll type a group name. This is going to be a group for administrators, so I'll simply call it Administrators. If I had already created users, I could add users to the group at this point. Since I don't have any users, I'll add them later. The next step in the process would be to attach permission policies. I'll click in the box to filter for the different policies that are available, and I'll type in the word Administrator Access. I'll press Enter to search, and you'll notice the Administrator Access permission created by AWS appears in the list below. I can click on this access. If I scroll down, I can see the various services that this policy has permissions to. I can also see the access level and what resources the policy can access. I'll close this window and return to the console. To give my group this access, I simply need to check the box. Then I'll scroll down and click Create Group. You'll notice the administrator's user group was created by the message in the top of the window. Our next step would be to create users. Just like we did with the user groups, I'll come over to the left and click on the users. Again, I'll come to the far right-hand side, click Add Users, and I'll click in the box and type a username. When I create my user, I can also determine the access type. You'll notice that there are two types that are provided. The access type can be programmatic access, which would enable me to use the access key and the secret access key for the AWS application programming interfaces, command line interface, software development kit, and other development tools. The AWS Management Console access would allow me to use a password to sign in and access the AWS Management Console like I'm using right now. I'll check both of these boxes, and you'll notice that I'm prompted with additional options by checking the second box. You'll notice for passwords, I can either allow AWS to automatically generate a password, or I can create my own custom password. Auto-generated passwords are very useful if you're creating an account for someone else. You can allow AWS to create the password and leave the box checked for the user to change their password the next time they log in. Since I'm creating this password for myself, I'm going to create a custom password, and I'll type the password right now. I don't want to change my password when I log in, so I'll uncheck the second box to disable this option. Moving forward, I'll click the next button, and I'll set up permissions. For working with permissions, you'll notice that we have the ability to add the user to a group, which is what we're going to do. Just to go through the other two options, you'll notice you can also copy permissions from an existing user if we had one, or attach existing policies directly. Since these two options attach the policy directly to the user, we generally try to stay away from them unless we have to. Working with groups allows us to keep things organized and easy to manage. When you begin attaching policies directly to a user, the level of complexity really grows, especially as the number of users increases and the number of resources that we need to manage grow. Again, I'll leave Add User to Group, and I'm going to add the user that I created to the administrator groups. This is as simple as checking the box. I'll do this, and then I'll move to the next step. Here we have the option of adding tags. This is an optional step, and it allows us to create a key value pair to each user. Notice we have the ability to add 50 tags to each user. These tags allow us to do things like organize, track, and control access for the user. As your use of AWS grows, the need to stay organized is critical, and tags are one way that we can do this. For right now, we're going to leave the tags fields blank, and we'll simply click the Next button to review our changes. You can see here we have information about the user that we just created, and in the permission summary area, you can see that we've added this user to the administrators group. At this point, we're all finished. We can click on Create User. You'll notice our user has been created successfully. When we create the user, you'll notice the access key, ID, and secret access key appears. This is the only time that we'll be able to see this secret access key, so it might be a good idea to show the key, copy it, and store it in a secure place. The access key ID and secret access key will be very important to us if we use this user account for programmatic access. I'll click the Close button, and you'll notice that the user has been created. The last thing that we'll do is we'll log into AWS with the user account that we've just created. First, I'll log out of my root user account. And then I'll log back in. This time, instead of using the root user, I'll use an IAM account. I'll type the account name that I worked with. Then I'll type the username and the password. I'll click Sign In, and I'm signed into the account that I just created. In this video, we discussed how to create an Amazon Web Services free tier account. We created a group and granted the group administrative privileges. Then we created a user account and added the account to the group. We now have an Amazon account that has numerous free services for the next 12 months. I'll follow up this video with additional videos on various AWS services and programming with AWS so you can get more out of your AWS account. That's all for now. I'll see you in the upcoming videos.